reach out to folks who may not have come back from the pandemic. There's probably a group of about 20 or 30 folks that are still watching us online. Some of them have very good reasons why they're not in church right now. I know a couple of them are dealing with issues of health, but there are some that could come that are not coming. We want to reach out to them. The third group that we want to reach out to are folks that we want to identify, and there's a process in that. People who probably still think of Central as their home, but for one reason or another, they are not coming to church right now. We'd like to identify if there are ways of healing that need to be healed, invitation, inspiration that can come for those folks as well. And the fourth group that we want to appeal to is we believe that we have something unique to offer as a church. We are a church that welcomes all people from all different walks of life. There are not many churches that do that anymore. Many churches are specialized to meet one specific age group or ideology or worldview. We are a church that's not everybody's in the center and you have to be in the center. We welcome everybody across the spectrum, and you are welcome to worship at Central Baptist Church, and we're going to make a space for you and a place for you. And we believe that that is a unique thing for us to claim and reach out to folks in the community about. So we are working on those different aspects in the life of the church. We also need to work on marketing, and we've got a couple of other things that we're discussing. So with that, I just want you to know we've met 6 or 7 times up to this point. We know we've got more times to talk and to cover some of the issues, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we are engaged. We are not taking this action lightly. You've seen some of the changes that we've made in worship, with the songs that we are singing, with the different styles as they're presented, the a cappella, all of that stuff has come out of that. The decision to kind of confine our space for worship to a certain area so that we can hear each other sing, all of those were the result of conversations that happened within the planning team. All right, with all of that said, I'm going to open up the mic. I'm going to ask you to come one at a time. As you raise an issue, raise one issue, and somebody from the planning team or myself will come up and we'll give an answer, offer up an answer to some of the questions that you might have. So with that, does anybody want to be our first to go? If you all stay quiet, I'm going to assume that you perfectly agree with everything that we've done. So you've got to say something if you're going to say something. Come on, Pope.
I first was interested in who was on the committee.
All right. Those that are on the planning team, would you raise your hand?
All right. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna first, and I don't want you to give this as criticism. Talking, you got to talk about it, okay? That has a lot to do with what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the service. First of all, I'm very much in favor of moving everybody down and putting up the boundaries for people to sit. But this has been going on for a long time, and it has to do with our sound system. It is very difficult to worship in our church when our sound system squeaks and yells, does that. And we have worked on it, we have people to do it, but it is very distracting to me when I'm in a church service and the sound system is like it is. Now, your sermons, I like very much. I think
As you should.
and he has a doctorate. I can tell you, when you stand behind the podium and you talk into the microphone, it comes through as yelling. Today, when you stood out away from the microphone, it was very effective. I thought that was very, very good. But when you're standing behind and you begin to talk loud, it comes over as a distraction to me, mainly because of the sound system that we have. I don't know how we're going to do about that, and I don't know if other people feel that way. But that's the way. As far as people who not coming right now, my opinion would be to stop the Zoom. Just completely stop it. If they're not able to come, then that's too bad. But, so those are the two things that I wanted to talk about. I want to talk sometime, but not right now, about going out in this particular community that you have discussed. And those of you who have been in this church know that we have done that many, many times. And I'm not sure how that's going to work out. If it works out, fine. That's just what I've got to say about this.
All right. Does anybody from the planning team want to respond to that? Because there were sound system issues that were brought up. My yelling was brought up, which is okay. It was a little loud today. Can you come up here? Let's make sure it's heard.
So, Zoom, did you mean the YouTube?
Yeah.
You mean the
You mean the
YouTube?
streaming thing?
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows, but we actually purchased a new sound system, basically. Not all the speakers were changed, but the mixing board and all that stuff was purchased. And we seem to be having a struggle getting it in balance. And that, I think that's most of what the problem is getting that dialed up. And we don't really have a actual sound person with a
We do.
Okay. That's probably what the problem is as far as the sound system goes. The only other thing I will say is that our discussions about working within the community was that there's obviously a changeover in the community, probably every couple of years, with new people moving in and people moving out. And the idea was to move around in the community and at least invite them to consider coming back to the church or coming to our church. That's what that's about, within the confines of the 1 mile radius.
Related to the sound system and the sound person, you may have noticed a new face the last couple of Sundays. His name is Daniel Yancey. You may have heard of Yancey Music. That's the son of the Yanceys that sold Yancey Music. He is a professional sound person. That's what he does. He has been coming the last couple of weeks and practicing and working with Isaac, and the goal is to train Isaac to be able to do that. He charges $50 an hour, and so, which is actually a very good rate for somebody who really knows what they're doing. He has identified some of the issues and is trying to address them as it goes on. Today, the distraction was Isaac was in the back, and I think Daniel was supporting Isaac in the work that Isaac was doing. And so it was a learning process today. And it has to be done live with worship, because when you do the sound while they're practicing at 9:30 in the morning, there's no person that's listening. There's nobody in the sanctuary to soften the sound or change the sound. So you get one sound that sounds right, and then you get up there and there's 50, 60, 70 people in the sanctuary, and that changes the way the whole thing sounds. And so I'm not making an excuse. We know we've got to address it. We know it's distracting. It's distracting for me. But that is, we are taking that seriously. First thing is to get a new soundboard, and then we're working with Daniel on that. You want to speak to that? Step over.
I also want to let you know that today, a lot of what was going on, we have a new pulpit mic. And the pulpit mic is not working. It's cutting in and out. And we changed the cable on it. And I don't know what to do about that, BJ. I don't know if we need to call the company it was purchased from, find out if there's a warranty. We can do some more checking with it. But also, a lot of the cables are still running through the old snake that's underneath the ground. And Daniel is suggesting that we cut that out and go directly into the new snake with everything. That would mean more time, quite a bit of time on his part to get it run into the new snake. He's thinking having that an old analog snake that's been there all these years is probably part of the problem. So.
The snake is the wiring system.
So the snake is not the snake from biblical times, it's the, I haven't had my ice cream yet, but I'm sweet already. It is we have an old snake that runs underneath the floor of the sanctuary and connects and gives us 16 channels, and we use more than that on a Sunday morning. So the new digital snake has 32 outlays, but we still have some of the old speakers and old things plugged in through that old analog snake, and we need to get everything running through the new digital. So all of that costs money. And so we're trying not to spend the church's money, but we're trying to do the best that we can with what we have. So Daniel is making the best recommendations to us out of a professional opinion about how to fix that.
There's not enough ice cream back there to make you sweet.
There's not enough ice cream back there. I'm always sweet. All right. All right. Does that address at least what you had to say? All right. Marty, you want to come up?
I'll get it, Mike, I'll get it. I just want to say that probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, I thought we had a miracle in church. I came in, I'm very hard of hearing. I've got new hearing aids. And I came into church and everything was so loud. Music, preaching, everything. I can turn my hearing aids off. So I thought it was a miracle. I really did. But it wasn't. When church was over, I still needed my hearing aid. I think that you could cut yours analog music in half, volume-wise. Because seriously, I can't even leave my hearing aids on. I turn them all the way off, leave them in, because I'm trying to cover up my ears. And it is very hard. Extremely well to me. Listen.
I know it's we will make sure that we carry those concerns to Daniel and make sure we take a look at that. Is that correct, Nancy? All right. Any other issues that you have from the document that you want to share? Concerns? All right. Come on, Jim.
I guess my concern was the same thing that folks brought up about the community. I want, first of all, I will thank the committee for putting this, all this program together, and all the information they got. They did a great job here. I just want to mention a couple of things. Our community here is, and we're a very transient area. And the people are in and out pretty quickly. You never know when they're going to be here. A few years ago, Linda Pickett spent a lot of time, several years, going through our community and bring young people with children up from the people that were living here, from their families. And she did a good job. They would come for trunk or treat, or they would come for Easter egg hunt, but we never saw them in church. So I think that part is, we're not going to fit, this is my personal opinion, we are not going to fit the needs of everybody in our community. We're just not going to do that. And so I feel like, look around us, we've got an older crowd here. These are good folks, and I wonder if maybe we could concentrate on our local congregation. Build up on from that. We rather make our community fit with us, why don't we make ourselves fit in with our church? We're blessed to have a very vibrant, young, older, except for Mike, older congregation. And I just want to throw that in. And I think when folks look at, when we look at these projects and missions, let's think about our folks here and blend in with them. We've got an opportunity to do a lot of good things here. And I think that, personally, we may, when we start building this older group up, we may find out there's a lot of older people here in this community that might be looking for a place to come in and be welcomed with their ideas. So it's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Anyone else have a thought? Come on, Larry. Oh, Diane was headed up first. Larry, you come up next. Have a seat right here. I didn't realize she was already coming her way up.
I just wanted to talk to what Jim said. If you saw the list of all the things that are going on in the church, we looked at that in the planning committee. And we want to have a meeting with all of these people that are involved, the heads of each one of these groups, and find the best way that we can serve them and that they can serve us. And that includes the seniors. We have prime timers. We do have things that involve the seniors. We're trying to get the ARC trip off, but I don't know. DJ has said that we may not have enough people for that. So we're trying for that. But you know, if you have something that you think would be a good fit for our church, talk to us. We're willing to listen and to try to figure out something we can do. Nancy's doing the garage sale instead of having a thrift store, and that's bringing funds into our church, and it's also helping us get rid of some of our junk and getting new junk. But you know, talk to us about what you would like to have at the church.
What the church needs is what the Bible preaches, patience. We're all going through different things, different times, different people. And it's hard to get older people and younger people together because we have different ideas. You know, my daughter always called me an old man. Yeah, but you know, I'm not upset. I'm 65. If I live 65 more years, that ain't gonna hurt me. The point is, you live, you learn. There's a passage in the Bible says you must be as wise as the serpent and as simple as a dove. So this is what we're gonna have to do. Work together. And it's not always hard, it's not always easy, but it's what we make it. Nobody else. Because you can see the congregation is growing slowly. But when things grow slow, they last long. They grow fast and die fast. So we work together, so we come out on top. I mean, God has shown me a vision. This place is going to be so crowded, being around when you sit. So just be patient with each other. That's all.
Shirley, did you want to say something?
My name is Shola. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Recently, it's been about a month that I have given coffee, sleeping bags, clothes, and washcloths to the homeless. I like to see more people do more for the homeless because it's a need. And therefore, for the grace of God, go to you or I. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Come on, Sylvia.
I'm supposed to be doing publicity for the church, and with Helen coming, Helen's here. Helen does the media, social media, and I try to do the things that old people do. But anyway, I don't have a clear picture of what I can put out into the community. And somebody needs to tell me, I threw Penny for, sorry Penny, I threw Penny for a loop a few years ago when I put the bridge group in the paper. It wasn't supposed to be in for 2 weeks, and it was in right then, and like 4 people showed up and I wasn't here and she didn't know what was going on, so my apologies again for that. But when the prime timers have things, when, you know, there are certain things I know that are for church members, but if somebody will give me a clear picture of what's going on, we did get publicity for the rummage sale and for the performing arts, and I'll send that in again for July. But if somebody just give me a clear picture of what I can send out to the community before I shock any more people.
And that is one of the things that we have to talk about, Sylvia, is how we communicate within and to the community better than we have been. We know we've got a lot of work to do on that. Does anybody on the planning team want to respond to some of the things that we've heard related to reaching the folks here in this community? We had a lengthy discussion on that, Jim, that I want to make sure that you knew that we were aware, you know, that we have tried in the past to reach the folks that are local to our community. We've also taken seriously the needs of the people of the church, and so we've changed the music over the last month. I hope that you've been able to see the difference in that, and I hope that that makes a difference to you, that we've heard you on that. I will say that God has planted us in this place to be a beacon of light to these people around us, or God needs somebody to be here to be a beacon of light to the people that are around us. And if we're not going to do that, then we need to be able to say we need to move on and move out. And we need to think that through. That does not mean that we don't take seriously reaching the people of our church. And so that was part of what Diana was talking about is, you know, the ARC encounter, the prime timers, the lunch bunch that we have, that BJ has coordinated, the singing of the songs that are a little bit more familiar for us. Those are all attempts to try and be more present for the people who are in our church, as well as reaching out to the folks who are not here. And Pope, we need to have that conversation. We'll have a conversation about whether or not to stop the YouTube video. We do have a pretty dedicated number of folks that's beyond the folks that we've identified who are missing. So there are people that are beyond who used to come to church that are watching on YouTube. And the question is, you know, do we just sacrifice that? Or do we go with it? Like, you know, for example, they're not here today, but Art and Joan Schreisen cannot come back to church right now because of Art's health. But they watch faithfully every Sunday. Nancy Jones, I think, is keeping up with us, even though she's living in Alabama. And so those are questions that we would have to think about. You know, Bobby and Lynn Albovia. So there are some folks that would mean sacrificing their ability to keep up with what we're doing in order to make that appeal. But we do need to have that conversation. It's not an invalid conversation to have. We do not pay to use YouTube. That's just a free service. We do pay for the person who comes in and does the streaming. So that it's called a digital switcher and allows us to do more than just a single camera. That's why we paid for that. We've got 2 different, if you watch our video service, when you miss, you'll notice that there's someone there that's guiding and directing, you know, which part of the worship to focus on at a specific time. But posting on YouTube is a free thing. All right. All right, come on.
Under ministries that carry the name of the church and the community, about halfway down, it says Sunday lunch. And I just want to say, my wife makes me take her out after church every Sunday, and it costs me a lot of money. And if we are having Sunday lunch here, I'd rather be coming here free.
I actually want to make a comment about that, because that's one of the other things for community building that we discussed as a group, and that was that we want to be able to have perhaps a once-a-month lunch after church for us to build the relationships and the connections that are a part of our church together. We may use that as a way, everybody brings some food and put in $5. It's way cheaper than you normally spend. And then we have some fundraiser ability for different ministries that we have in the church. We're still working on that, that's why we haven't presented it to anybody, but we do want to build connection and community with each other. And so that's one of the ideas that we had, was to do that. And I know Sunday school classes do that. I think your Sunday school class has a lunch every so often, and I think the New Beginnings probably has something like that. And that's wonderful, but we need the whole church to be gathered for that, so that people of all generations get to experience that time together. So, all right. Anybody else? Nancy, you want to say something?
You guys know I do the yard sale and stuff. At the yard sale, I give out invitations to almost everybody that comes through that I can remember to hand it to them. It's just an invite. It tells them on the invite, it says what we do at church, what our weekly schedule is. If you guys would like to have some of those to give out to people that you see in the community, that's a great idea. I think we have some at Recovery Cafe. I put them out at Connections. It's just a little invite to tell people what we are doing during the week, to see if it was something that they would like to do. If you see somebody, a lot of these ministries, a lot of these things that we do, pastor's lunch, the Zoom meeting, sometimes people don't think that they're invited unless they get a personal invitation. And it's okay, but some people just need to be told, hey, we would love for you to come. A lot of people don't come to church because they're not told, hey, we would love for you to come and join us. We need to make an effort as individuals in the church, as leaders in the church, as people in the church, to make sure that people know that we are here, and if you would like to come, we would love to have you. Because sometimes it just takes somebody to make themselves available to say, we would love for you to come.
Go ahead. Come on.
What are you laughing at, Worker? That's why I'm up here. I'm up here to defend your life. Would you stand up, please? And you tell me you're missing meals somewhere? That's all I got to say.
Years ago, we had a health ministry here that I was director of, and we used to once a month have lunch after church. We invited the community. It's been so long, I don't remember if the community came. But it was a very minimum cost, just enough to cover the food, and we had a speaker. On hypertension, on diabetes, we had a wonderful panel on a living will, where we had an attorney, a doctor, a social worker, a lady whose one of her parents passed away without a living will, and one that had one that told the difference in the process. So we could do something like that on occasion too, and just get a speaker from the community or a speaker from our congregation on a health issue.
It's a great idea. Good thought. Yeah, come on. Sure.
But a couple of weeks ago, I had Aiden, and we were coming out of the nursery. And this lady said to me, oh, I didn't know that you had a nursery at Central, that I was told that no any longer do. And I feel like we have enough of people in this church that if somebody does want to come and bring their grandchild, her excuse is she can't come because she has a grandchild. That there's no reason that we can't have someone back there in the nursery if somebody shows up, even if it's one of our teenagers that's qualified. And that could be something that Sylvia could put in the news thing.
Okay, yeah. Yep, we need to have, we did discuss that too. Well, we talked about a lot of things, didn't we? All right. You only get one turn.
Marty, go.
When we have a work day at Central, I know that most of you guys think that the work day is just an outside thing. We have things that we can do indoors too. I know that a lot of you feel like that you can't help. There's a lot of stuff that you guys can do. And we, the younger people, the youth, me, I don't know why I said me with the younger people, but we would love to be able to work alongside of you and learn stuff about Central that we don't know. I've only been here for a few years. There's stuff I don't know about Central. And part of all of us working together on a work day is that everybody can learn what Central was and what Central can be. Because those guys back there that I'm taking to camp, those are part of the future of Central. And we need to make sure that we're giving them the ability and the access to help this church grow. This may be an older church, but there's a lot of there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of love in this church that I would hate to see just stop. I think there's a lot of stuff that can be done that we just haven't seen. And like I said, sometimes you just need somebody to go, we need you. What can you do?
Thank you, Nancy. All right. Any other thoughts, concerns, feedback? How many of y'all are enjoying the music that we're singing? Somebody say an amen. Amen. All right, good. We are hearing you, and we are trying to make adjustments to make sure that everybody is heard. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to get everything that they want, but we want you to know BJ has recorded. You may not have known that you were on TV today, but BJ has recorded this, so we will make sure that we address at some level, whether it's in writing or spoken, each thought and each concern that has been mentioned here today. Any last thing?
I'd like to say one thing.
Okay.
It's not been mentioned, I don't think. But we're talking about bringing people into the church. We have a wonderful youth group. We have a wonderful children's group. And how many of their parents are attending church? I would like to issue, Shirley brings her great-grandchildren. Shirley is bringing her great-grandchildren. But I would like for the children and the youth to invite their parents, their aunts and their uncles to attend. I mean, we have a great, we may be old, but we have plenty of energy and we have plenty of love. And that's just a throw out from me. Nobody else ever mentioned it, and I just thought I would challenge the youth and the children to invite their parents and their aunts and uncles and their family to attend the church. You know, it takes, I was told a long time ago when I wasn't going to church that it takes 3 times and it becomes a habit, and it's a wonderful habit to get into. Okay, that's me.
Thank you, excellent. Appreciate it. So just a quick round of applause for our planning team. And my round of applause is for you. It takes a lot of courage to stand up and share when you have something to say. And I'm grateful for a church that is willing to speak its mind. That speaks good. That is good news about the health of our church, that people feel like they can share, and we can share it in a sense of love and grace. That's wonderful.
You may have done this in the beginning, but I'd like to know who is on the plan.
All right, so let me go around and I'll kind of let you know who is here. Deronda Meyer is BJ's mom, and she is on our planning team. BJ Meyer, as church staff, is on the planning team. Nancy and Mike Flanagan are both on the planning team. Penny Redfern and Tommy Lou Hitson are both on the planning team. Diana Allen is on the planning team. Jim Eleanor is on the planning team, and I'm on the planning team. So there's 8 of us that meet on a regular basis, and I think we've had at least 7 for every meeting that we've had. So that everybody has been committed and engaged, and if you can't tell, that's a pretty broad spectrum of the people of our church there. If you have an idea that you have shared and you feel like it needs to be articulated better, I encourage you to write it down, and I promise you it will be brought as you wrote it to the planning team so that when they think about it, it'll come unfiltered to you. Okay? Any questions? Thoughts? Larry, did you have one last thing you wanted to say? And then Mike?
Yes, can we, tell the history of this church?
Can we tell the history of Central Baptist?
Where it came from to where it is today?
I can, not today. It's way too long for us to carry today.
I'm not saying that do it.
But yeah, we can start talking about some of the things that are true of Central, and we can do it in sermons and other options, other opportunities. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, the handout that we passed out there, we've identified 8 areas that we wanted to direct our attention to, and that handout shows the first 3 that we've worked on. So I just want to let you know what the other ones are that we were working on, and see if you have some feedback on that. We're currently working on the appearance of the facilities inside and the appearance outside. And so we've had some ideas and welcome many more ideas from you guys. Publicity is one of the topics that we have set up to talk about, so that's been brought up already. Communal activities, how we're going to work with our community and be a presence in this community and the community of ourselves as well. Our outreach and invitation is a topic that we have slated to address. How we present ourselves to the community and how we can reach out to others around us and let them know who we are and invite them in. And then communication within the church. We're going to discuss how we communicate so that the different activities and gatherings that we have, that we don't have some of the issues we had. Somebody come to use the chairs and somebody else has already taken them. Things like that. But, just how we communicate internally between each other and keep things on track. So if you guys have any ideas or comments about those particular subjects that aren't in that paper, those are things that we're working on or getting ready to work on. Invite your comments for that as well.
All right, let's close with a word of prayer then. Thank you, guys. God, I do thank you for our time of sharing and our time of thinking through the present and the future of our church. We ask that you would give us blessing, inspire us in surprising ways, give us wisdom and guidance in all things. Be with our planning team as they continue the work that they're engaged in, and help us to devise and present plans to the church that make sense and are manageable within the life of the church. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you. Don't forget to donate to our children if you haven't forgotten. There's still a donation basket over there next to the window.